Ain't nothing like them NFL playoffs. Not only is it like the NFL playoffs, we got an extra spot in the seating this year. Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is going to be your NFL playoff preview and predictions, not for the entire playoffs, but just Super Wild Card weekend, which consists of 6 games, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, as opposed to what we normally get, which would be 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. COVID, Capitol Hill, everything. But what you can count on is some good football this weekend. Let's go Titans. Not sure how I feel about the game we play against Baltimore, but despite all that, we're going to preview and predict all of it. You're still a loser, but your mom still loves you. Well, she may or may not, but that's not important. NFL Wild Card Weekend. Preview and predictions. Go nowhere else. We got some interesting games on tap here. It is good to be back talking about the NFL playoffs. One of the things that we want to talk about on here is that there are some teams that don't believe. When I look at this playoff bracket, or I look at these NFL playoffs, there's one thing that comes to my head, just like that. Why are the Chicago Bears doing? What the hell are they doing in here? They found a way to get in. Cleveland Browns, obviously, had a much better season than people anticipated. Pittsburgh, again, fell off a cliff a little bit towards the end of the season. The LA Rams, again, good season. Seattle, good season. Washington, the winner of the NFC East. Obviously, you know, that division's a dumpster fire. Tampa Bay, obviously, was going to find a way in. Baltimore found a way in. The Titans won the division. Saints, a lot of teams on here, what you would think. Indianapolis was able to get one of the wild card spots. Number 7 seed, just squeezing in over Buffalo. And we're going to talk about that game first. We're going to talk about the Colts and the Bills. Now, one of the things I want to say here is that the Colts this year were renowned for their defense, right? The Colts had a very good defense, you know, kind of fell off a little bit towards the end of the year. They had some mishaps. Phillip Rivers, first season on the Colts, you know, he did pretty good. Maybe he wasn't putting up Phillip Rivers that we're used to seeing from the San Diego Chargers. But despite all that, the Colts have had a fairly good season. It was looking like that they were neck and neck with the Titans for the division for a while, neck and neck with us. We were able to squeeze out the win in the final week of the season. A lot of times, you know, that's what happened with the AFC South last year. They were able to squeeze out, or the Titans squeezed out the division towards the end of the year. Buffalo, on the other hand, is just miraculous. They got off to a super, super hot start this year. It finished them with the number 2 seed. They got off to a super hot start. Great offense. Run game's okay. Josh Allen is one of the MVP candidates. Their defense is very good. And they finished 13-3, and it got them the number 2 seed in a home game in the playoffs. Colts, Bills, who do I think wins? I think, to be honest with you, it's hard to see almost any team in the AFC beating Buffalo. That's just my honest opinion, and I do put Kansas City in that group. Kansas City and Green Bay both have a first-round playoff bye and home field throughout the playoffs up until, obviously, the Super Bowl, pending that either team were to make it to the Super Bowl. The first game on Saturday, Colts and Bills. The Colts have to play their best defense in their entire life. And I think that that's going to be very difficult, not only for them, but any team to do against the Buffalo Bills. I don't see the Buffalo Bills losing, especially not their first playoff game. I think they're the much better team than the Colts. You know, I think the Colts have the tools to make this an interesting game. Again, we talk about the Colts defense, which kind of fell off towards the end of the year. But one of their more suits, Phillip Rivers, you know, I worry about Phillip Rivers. I've always worried about Phillip Rivers in a playoff game. I think that he could be in for a very shaky Saturday. And whether or not that happens, you know, Phillip Rivers is capable of a good game, but he's also one of those quarterbacks that's capable of a 3-interception game, going, 11 for 17, or not 11 for 17, but 21 for 48, passing the football. I just think this Buffalo Bills team is on a mission, so I'm going to go with the Bills to beat the Colts in the first game. Then we flip this script to an NFC West matchup. The second game of the NFL playoffs. The LA Rams making it in. A much better season than a lot of people thought they were going to have. Going into the season, I thought the LA Rams were going to either be 13-3 or 2-14. They finished 10-6, and that's about right for most people. Seattle Seahawks, on the other hand, 12-4. Seattle was off to an unbelievable start. Their offense was clicking and firing on all cylinders. Russell Wilson was looking like the best quarterback in football. And they have this home game against the LA Rams. What do the Rams need to do to win? For the Rams, you know, they've centered a lot of their success this year around defense. And I think that that's something that they're going to need to continue to do. Russell Wilson is obviously a very good quarterback. Not only is he a good quarterback, he's a very mobile quarterback. And Seattle has a lot of offensive weapons that the Rams are going to have to do their best to shut down. I think when it comes down to for the Rams to win this game, I don't worry about necessarily their ability to score the football because Seattle doesn't have that good of a defense. Their defense is average at best. I worry about the Rams need to play that defense that we know that they can play. For me, for the Rams to win this game, they need to play defense. Aaron Donald has to get at least a sack or two in this game. There needs to be some kind of turnover, some kind of interception from the LA Rams that would need to get them to make the plays that they need. Defense is important. The Rams have a very, very good one. Can they beat the Seattle Seahawks? It comes down to the Rams and how they defend. We know Seattle can be beat. They're very inconsistent, as great as they are. They have a lot of offensive weapons. This is another good matchup. Another good matchup. You know, a lot of the predictions are headed towards Seattle. And that's where I'm going to go. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to beat the Rams because I think the Seahawks have such offensive prowess, but the Rams defense could definitely show up and give you something special. But I go with Seattle to win because I think that Russell Wilson, again, is going to have a really good game. When Seattle's hot, they're a really hard team to stop. Does Seattle do much more than beat the Rams? I'm not sure. But I do think that Seattle will find a way to beat the Rams. I don't trust Jared Goff. I don't think he's the worst quarterback in the world for the Rams. But he's never been a quarterback that I've trusted that much. So I'm going to go with Seattle Seahawks to win this game. They have a lot more weapons. They're a much better team when it comes to scoring. The Rams have the defense, but I don't know if they exactly match up too great against Seattle. Saturday night football. Tampa Bay traveling to Washington. Now, this spot for the NFC East winner, in theory, could have been the Cardinals. Could have been, I don't even know who else. But when I think of a team, the NFC East winning, the first thing I think of is the fact that the Arizona Cardinals should have had this spot. Because the NFC East was a dumpster fire the entire year. I think everybody will agree with that. And, you know, Washington showed some upside towards the end of the season. And, you know, you have to tip your hat to Alex Smith after all the things that he went through for him to come back and play football. You know, they showed some promise on defense. Chase Young, again, looking like he has a star-studded career ahead of him. But Washington shouldn't really be in the playoffs, and they definitely shouldn't be home. Tampa Bay. Now, we don't, maybe we won't put Tampa Bay in the category of a team that's going to win the Super Bowl, but they're definitely a team you got to have your eye on. Their offense speaks for itself. They can run the ball. Tom Brady, listen, age, whatever you want to say. Nobody masters the playoffs better than Tom Brady does. 6 Super Bowl rings. An offense that is going to be very hard for any team to stop. Weapons at receivers, run, not tight end. Well, I have Gronk. I'm not sure what you're going to get from Gronk in the playoffs. Nobody knows the playoffs better than Tom Brady. And the Bucs have a very good defense, a defense that doesn't get talked about enough. Washington, on the other hand, they don't really offer much outside of the defense. Alex Smith, you know, he's been okay. And at the end of the day, the team's been 5-1 since Alex Smith took over as Washington's quarterback. But when you think about it, that's really about it. There is some upside on that Washington defense, but their offense is not strong enough. You know, Tampa Bay is good at shutting down the run. They have a young running back, Washington, Antonio Gibson, who's shown some promise. But again, what is he going to be able to do against a team like Tampa Bay? You know, Washington is not really deep on offense. They have McLaurin again. He'll get matched up, you know, but I don't think that Washington will be able to score the way Tampa Bay does. I'm not saying, you know, Tampa Bay may not get 45 points like everybody thinks because Washington does have some upside on defense. But I don't think that they have enough to stop Tampa Bay, and they certainly don't have enough to match up with them offensively. So I think that I would have to go with Tampa Bay by a landslide. It would be some kind of miracle, I think, if Tom Brady would get bounced in the first round again. Not only would he get bounced in the first round, but he would get bounced in the first round to a team that is nowhere near as skilled as his team is. So I'll go with Tampa Bay to win that. We flip to Sunday. Not going to do any predictions. Why? Because I'm a Titans fan and I don't want to do predictions. I don't want to do predictions because I don't want to jinx it. Baltimore and Tennessee. They've developed a very strong history over the last couple of years. We talk about the Ravens, who were 14-2 last year, hosting the Titans in the AFC divisional round last year, and the Titans kicked the life out of them. The Titans kicked the life out of them. This year, regular season in Nashville, the Titans beat the Ravens in overtime. You know, you get scared as a fan because you have to think that at some point in time, a team is due. A team is due to beat yours. And you don't want to see it, but you feel that you're scared to it. The Titans win the division, so this is a home game for them as they host the Ravens. What can Lamar Jackson bring to the playoffs? Lamar Jackson has to do something in the playoffs. Is he able to do it, and will he do it? It's going to be hard for Baltimore to be neutralized because the Titans have one of the worst defenses in the league. Our pass rush is terrible. Our pass defense is not good. We're okay at stopping the run, but outside of that, the Titans' defense is ridiculous. It's not good. It's awful. And that's why I don't think that we'll have a deep run this year. Our offense, on the other hand, is phenomenal. Derrick Henry, best running back in football. Tannehill's had a great year. Our receivers have been fantastic. Our offensive line is playing great. I don't really worry about the Titans. I don't worry about us scoring the football on Sunday. I don't think that'll be the problem. I worry about us stopping the Ravens from scoring the football. Obviously, on paper, this Ravens team may not be technically as good as the one last year. But then again, our team has flipped a lot too. Defense is so important. You can have the best offense in the world, but if you have a terrible defense, it's only going to get you so far. And that's what I believe about this. I think that I'm up in arms about this game. I'm not going to make a prediction for it, but I'm just going to tell you that if the Titans want to win this game, they have to score the way they score. And they have to run the ball and keep Lamar off the field because I don't trust our defense to stop him from scoring. Lamar is on a record to prove himself. He's 0-2 in the playoffs. Last year was a shocker, and this is the perfect window of opportunity for him to get the win. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like it as a Titans fan. This game makes me nervous. I don't think that we'll have a deep playoff run to begin with, but I don't like it. I don't like it. So I'm going to stay away from the prediction. I'll keep that to myself. I do not want to be the one that jinxes anything. The next game should be domination. That's the Sunday second game. The Chicago Bears coming in as a number 7 seed. Yeah, the Bears were the number 7 seed, just sneaking into the playoffs. Will travel to New Orleans to play the New Orleans Saints. This game, the New Orleans Saints, this game is so important to the Saints because the Saints have had the worst playoff success over the last couple of years. It's just been terrible. We talk about the games against Minnesota, the robbery against the Rams. It goes on and on. The importance of this game for the Saints is so important. There's no matchup here whatsoever. The Bears' offense is nowhere in any way close to New Orleans. The Bears' defense is average at best. The Saints have a very good defense. They have a much better team. The difference between team skills for New Orleans is up here, and Chicago's all the way down here. You want to win some money? Bet on Chicago, but I don't think Chicago has any business against the Saints. And, I've said that before, though. You got to play the game, and I think that the more it goes on, you think that more so that you have to play the game because that's just what it is. But the Saints should rip through and should dominate this one. But, of course, I don't want to be the one to jinx, but I'll go with the Saints. Final game of the week, Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Who do you pick? I don't know. Pittsburgh and Cleveland have had some good games this year. Pittsburgh started off to an 11-0 start, and then they kind of fell off earth. They lost 3 games in a row, won 1, and then lost the final game of the season by benching Ben Roethlisberger. Cleveland found their way into the playoffs as the number 6 seed. They did not win the the AFC North. That was Pittsburgh's title. So they will host them again after playing them last week. Pittsburgh needs to win this game because if they finish the season after starting off 11-0 and then losing in the first round of the playoffs, this is one of the more interesting games to watch this week because Cleveland has slowly become one of the teams that's very fun to watch. We don't hesitate with Pittsburgh's defense. I'm curious to see how Baker Mayfield plays under pressure in a different environment in his first playoff game. It's going to be interesting. Baker Mayfield has a chance to really prove himself, and I think that everybody, including myself, will look forward to this game. But I'm going to go with Pittsburgh to win because I think that, Pittsburgh's on a mission. They're not going to win anything, but I will go with Pittsburgh to beat Cleveland. I think that they're a little bit more deep, but I don't know why. See, I'm saying that, but I kind of want Cleveland to win because, I don't like Pittsburgh, but I'll go with that. I hope everybody enjoys. I know that this was a little bit late, maybe not as much high energy as we're used to typically seeing, but I hope that I hope that Cleveland actually wins this game, and I hope that you enjoy the games this weekend as well. Until next time, until we do our review probably on Tuesday, so long.